If you're like me, you enjoy playing Counter-Strike competitively. If you're even more like me, you also happen to be a full-time student. So what if I told you that you could combine these two things and represent your college while competing in high-level Counter-Strike matches? In this video, I want to go through a quick overview of what collegiate Counter-Strike looks like and how you and your school can get involved. In Collegiate CS, there are two main organizers, NACE and FACEIT. While both of these organizers usually run leagues during the spring semester, FACEIT has yet to announce any details of whether or not theirs will be running. So for the sake of this video, we're going to be spending some time talking about the other organizer's tournament, NACE Star League. With that being said, if FACEIT does announce their league, I'll be sure to make an updated video as soon as possible, so drop a sub to keep an eye out for that. Anyway, on to NACE. NACE is short for the National Association for Collegiate Esports, and is divided into 4 independent leagues: Open Plus, Varsity Plus, Open Premier, and Varsity Premier. The difference between them all is fairly simple. The open leagues are completely free to join for any collegiate team, while the varsity leagues are reserved for schools that are directly partnered with NACE, which requires an annual subscription fee paid for by your school. Plus leagues are less competitive with no cash prize, whereas the Premier leagues typically feature prize pools for the top teams. I say typically because for this specific spring semester, only Varsity Premier will feature a prize pool. But do take note that it's been announced prizing will return to Open Premier in the coming semesters. So, which of these leagues should your team join? If you do happen to attend a NACE partnered school and can muster together a roster of 5 decent players, I'd recommend taking advantage of the Varsity Premier League due to its prize pool. Unfortunately, NACE membership is expensive, and not every college is, understandably, willing to allocate the funds for it. Lucky for you, Open Premier is still a terrific option. While there may be no prize pool this semester, the level of competition you'll find is arguably higher than the Varsity League due to the larger sample size of teams, and that experience alone makes competing well worth the time and effort. Finally, I'd recommend the Plus divisions for your team if you find yourself in one of 2 scenarios. 1. You'd like to compete against other colleges in a more casual, yet still semi-competitive environment. Or 2. Your school already has a team in a Premier League and you want to form a second team. So now that you've decided which league to join, what is the actual format of the tournament? Once your team is registered, your team will be placed into a division with about 7 other universities. During the regular season, you'll play each team in your division once, for a total of 7 games. These games are best of 3 format and played weekly with a default time of 7 p.m. Friday, but do keep in mind they can be rescheduled. Maps are determined by a pick-ban veto system, with starting sides determined by the team that did not choose the map. The matches are played on an agreed-upon server, which usually ends up being a FACEIT hub. After 7 regular season games, the teams with the best records for each division will then automatically advance to the playoffs, with their seeding determined by their record and round differential. So what happens to the rest of the teams then? Well, if you finish in the top 3 of your division, you'll advance to what's called the Last Chance Qualifier. This is exactly what it sounds like. One last shot to qualify for the playoffs, where you'll face off against other 2nd or 3rd ranked teams across other divisions. Winning qualifies you for the playoffs with a lower seed, and losing means elimination. Playoffs are nearly a month-long process, with each round taking place over the span of a week. The matches are essentially the same as the regular season, online best of 3, only with much higher stakes as you fight for the title of Best Collegiate Team. So now that you know the logistics of the league, what sort of skill levels can you expect to compete against? Assuming you choose to join one of the Premier Leagues, the answer is kind of all over the place. The rulebook states that a Premier team's average rank must be at or above FACEIT level 7 or Premier rank 10,000. But I'm not so sure how heavily enforced that rule is. During my time, we've competed against teams with a max FACEIT level of maybe 5, all the way to teams with multiple 3K ELO players. In my opinion, this variance is part of the beauty of Collegiate CS, since it provides a golden opportunity for lower ranked players to really experience what it's like to face off against some of the best players in the country. In this video's description, you'll find links to the registration page as well as some other helpful resources. Right now, at the date of this video's recording, there's a little over a week left to get registered for the upcoming season. Remember, the open leagues are completely free to join for any collegiate 5-man roster, provided you're all from the same school, of course. So go out there and do some recruiting, and see how far you can make it in the collegiate circuit.